Welcome back to the How to Buy a Business Masterclass, episode number 3, brought to you by Village Wealth. Let's dive into it. We're talking about who you want on your team when you're acquiring a company. Now, I can't underscore this one enough. This is incredibly important. This isn't a one-man show. When you're buying a business, you do need a team around you. And if you've already put the effort in deciding, yeah, I'm gonna buy a business, you've done your hunting, you've done your searching, you found that targeted company that you're looking for, now you're in that initial discovery phase to figure out if this business is something that you want, that you actually want to move forward with making an acquisition on. You're gonna get to that stage where things are getting serious now, and you're gonna have to make an offer on this business, a letter of intent, right? Who do you want on your team for that? Obviously, you want a lawyer, and they need to be experienced in business acquisition. Now, here's the tip, kind of the pro tip for this section of the masterclass. You want somebody, what you're gonna hear when you read stuff is, okay, you want someone that's experienced in business transaction to be on your legal team, obviously, right? But really what you want is you want someone who's going to be comparable, equal to the other side's representation. So if the other side, if you're buying a business and it's $10 million in EBITDA and it's a monster, then they're going to have pretty serious legal representation on their side. So you're gonna have to pony up and you're gonna have to get an M&A specific transactional attorney, a firm that's used to and experienced in dealing with businesses this size, because you want to be apples to apples when you're walking down the road with these individuals to purchase this company. If you're buying a smaller business and it's doing $500,000, $600,000 a year in revenue, you do not want the high-flying $350 to $1,000 an hour lawyer, because it's going to be absolutely overkill, and you're going to roll over the other lawyer on the seller's side, and it's just not going to work, right? This is kind of almost a life in general thing. It's like whoever you're working with, you want to be working with them at their level. So you want to choose, hey, let's be realistic about the business size that we're acquiring. And if it's a larger company, then we want a real lawyer and law firm that specializes in this. If it's a smaller company, we want somebody who has experience in business transaction, but we don't want to be blowing the bank. Like, there's no need to, right? We just need somebody who has experience in the space of buying companies of that size. And so just ask them, like, get examples. I mean, you don't need to go all the way deep and get testimonials, but you need to get examples of other companies that they have worked with and just make sure it's the right size. The other thing is, if you're working with a lawyer and your company that you're acquiring is big for you but small for them, they're not going to put the attention on it that it needs, right? So you want someone that that is the size range that they work in from a legal perspective. So that's number one, and I would say the lawyer is probably, like, on your team, it is the most important. The second is your accountant, right? There's going to be an accountant on the other side, obviously getting through the transaction, and you're going to want an accountant on your side as well, especially when you're in the diligence process, like reviewing this company, making sure that it has what it's represented in its marketing material is actually realistic about the earnings that you can generate out of the business. An accountant's going to be a massive help for that. They're also going to be helpful when you're calculating working capital. They're going to be necessary for that as you go through the transaction. There might need to be a stub year end done depending on when the company transacts, and the accountants are going to be part of that as well. So you're going to have an accountant on your team. And the third person on your team is your lender. So depending on how your deal is getting financed, you're going to need a bank, a lending institution to fund you the debt side of the equation, right? So that's going to be important to bring that person in. And by the way, actually, when you're buying something smaller, a big component of the lending is going to be on the security, and it's going to be on you as the buyer, right? As the company gets bigger, it falls more in the cash flow that's being generated by the business. So if you're buying a smaller business, like say it's under $1 million, then you can do a lot of this upfront work with a lender prior to even going out there and putting an LOI in and having actually having an active offer, because a lot of the stuff is just going to fall onto you. It's going to be, all right, do you have equity that you can pull out of your house? What's the security you have? What's your credit score? These kind of things are going to fall in for the banker. If you are serious about this, and if you're watching the video, yeah, you want to do a little bit of hunting, you kind of want to like try things out, and but if you're serious about this, I would highly recommend getting an M&A advisor or an intermediary or a business broker. And this is always a debate. And like if you look at things online, it's like, okay, yeah, don't use a business broker, use a business broker. Don't use an intermediary, use an intermediary. This I suppose I'm biased on, but I've also been on both sides of the fence. Like I've sold my own companies on my own. And then we've also helped a significant amount of people sell their businesses. So this comes down to a personality style almost. So if you think to yourself, all right, I want to learn this process in depth, and I'm okay and comfortable making a significant amount of mistakes along the way and burning through a couple good opportunities. That might be okay. Like if you're okay with that, then I would suggest go alone. And you know what kind of person you are. If you're the kind of person that wants to do everything on your own and you're okay taking the bruises, the hits, and spending the time learning the hard way, then go on your own. If you're the kind of person that prefers to have professional advice to get success in the first round, wants coaching, wants advisory, and wants someone else to carry all the load, then get an intermediary. Maybe this is a good example or a good analogy. If you're gonna go climb Everest, you have a couple options. You can go and just rock and roll, do some research and do it on your own, or you can go with a Sherpa. So depending on, just think about that. Like if you're a Sherpa person, then get an M&A advisor because they're gonna carry your bag the whole way and they're gonna know the route. They're gonna take you down that route and you're highly likely to have success. And if you get 3/4 of the way up the mountain and you forgot some oxygen, the Sherpa's gonna have it for you, right? So you're not gonna die in the mountain. But just expect if you're going alone, you're gonna burn through a few deals. So you can put an intermediary on your team. And I highly suggest it. It'll just speed things up, and you'll end up paying less at the end of the day for the business because they'll negotiate things down for you. And for the most part, any decent intermediary is going to get their costs covered just in the negotiations alone, and the amount they'll save you on making offers and paying lawyers and this kind of stuff. And the bullet point of this lesson number 3, is that you want to build relationships, especially on the lending side. You want to build relationships with different lenders long before you're actually at the LOI stage. So I would say you want to have 4 or 5 lenders that you're working with that you're comfortable, that you've built rapport, that you can bring potential deals to. You want to have at least, you want to build a relationship with 1 lawyer, and start that early, right? The reason why you start that early is because things get real fast when you're in these transactions. And if you don't have somebody that you can call and be like, okay, today's the day, we need this, you'll be behind the ball and someone else will come in and they'll take your deal from you. So what you really want is like these relationships built prior so that you have them on speed dial essentially. And same with your accountant, right? Start building a relationship with an accountant early on, and you'll just be better positioned when you're actually getting these transactions. Okay, that was episode number 3. Who to put on your team. See you in episode 4. Village Wealth, how to buy a business.